we always try to raise the bar without a doubt. So we're going to go ahead. For those of you on time, way to go. And thank you for being on our weekly More Momentum. That's what it's all about. Momentum. Our goal is not just one event, but to continue building the momentum throughout the entire year with the best of the best. Because it's really hard. I mean, a lot of us go to these certain webinar, a Zoom call, or an event and get pumped up, excited, and get these great strategies. And then life happens. This happens to all of us, including Gino and I. Luckily, we're accountability partners, and we have coaches, and we have great mentors like Neel Dhingra on the call today to help us stay on track, help us stay in the know, help us keep up with strategies that will help you improve your personal and professional lives. That's our goal. If you're just grinding every day in your professional lives, well, then you're going to get burned out or not like what you're doing at some point. But if we can keep the balance with great strategies that you love, and that's why we brought Neel back, because there's very few in our industry that have really studied and perfected and improved and changed the social media game. And I've seen, and Gino's seen, Neel adjust with the times and adjust with what works, what doesn't work, which is really nice, because we are very fortunate to have Neel as one of our keynote speakers at Momentum Builder. And Neel and I talked, and this is a very open conversation as it is every week. So please connect, ask questions, get involved, use the reactions when you hear something cool, just as interactive. So we want it to stay that way because this is for you. We bring these experts on to, one, give you their strategies, but also to share with you what's working, what's not working, answer your questions so you actually understand it. Because sometimes you go through a webinar and you're like, wow, that all sounds great, but how the hell do I implement it? Or how does it apply to me? And what Neel's done is really cool, is he's adjusted over the time and adjusted with what's working and what's not. And I'm preaching to the choir because Neel will share this with you, but we have seen it. So we're going to, tee this up because Neel adjusted from, well, this worked for some, this didn't quite get them to the next level. So how do I get them all to the next level? How do we make them true professionals or rock stars in the social media space? And you've continually adjusted that, Neel, and you really brought out some new strategies around a workshop, meaning instead of dabbling. Neel, would you agree that you can't just dabble in social media? It just
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
like
quite, it's not as effective.
it's just like anything else, like if you want to make calls today, we could just check the box that we made some calls, or we could really show up and, be interested, right? You want to be interesting, be interested in other people. And so a lot of times, like, people just check the box and they'll share like a graphic from their company to their social media, or they'll pop on with a video um, once, and then you don't see them for 2 months after that. And so I think a lot of people, think they could just check the box, but as Don said, it just doesn't work. It's almost a waste of your time, and sometimes it can even work against you. Like, if I made a list, if I checked the box today that I'm going to call 10 referral partners, but I was half-assing it, they didn't feel I was even into the call. They felt I was just going through the motions. They would have a worse opinion of me afterwards, right? And so I think about this as like an iron. I want to teach you guys a concept today and keep it simple so everyone can execute. Because I love this saying: simple scales, fancy fails. So when I
Ooh,
tried years ago, I used to teach a lot of this
Gino's
stuff,
going
and
to steal that, by the way,
I
Neel.
would,
I just know
yeah,
Gino.
love it, man. But Gino told me this. He's like, bro, and Don, you told me, you said, bro, I love what you're teaching, but it's too much. I feel overwhelmed. You guys told me, and that's the thing I love about us guys. We can tell each other. I could be like, hey guys, why don't you try it this way? And you're like, okay, cool. You guys told me, hey Neel, why don't you narrow your focus a little bit? And I said, okay, cool. And I came back to you guys event this year, and we narrowed it down to something more simple, and voila, we got more results. So just so you know, simple scales, fancy fails with everything, with the consumer, with your content, with your workflow, with your processes. Anytime it gets just too cumbersome and all, it's just more friction. You're not going to do it. So with that said, like, basically we need to dumb this down, get it as simple as possible so that you can start doing it more. But if I think about this like as an iron, okay, like if you iron a shirt, like it's all nice and smooth and you got it worked. It's a tool and it worked. It gave you the desired results. You got a nice unwrinkled shirt. But what happens if you iron and the thing was folded over? It's almost like ironing the creases in, making it worse. So I don't want someone to do
That was
this
old
wrong.
Gino.
Yeah, it's like I don't want you to be ironing and have the damn thing folded over each other twice, and now you're just making the whole thing worse. So it is possible by not being intentional that you're actually doing more harm than good, and I don't want that to happen to anybody here. So when you share just generic BS content, it's almost like people start to tune you out. So that's a net loss. When you make a call and people couldn't hear that you were actually into it, they might have a worse opinion of you after the call. So you were trying to check the box that you did something good today, but actually now they feel worse about you. So simply doing the thing is not where we need to talk about today. We want to do it correctly. We want to get results. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today is like, what's a strategy that everybody on this call could use so that we could actually get some results. And my whole thing, guys, is if we can get somebody some good feedback, if we can get somebody some leads, they're now going to be more bought into the strategy. And they're like, you know what? I don't like doing social media and video, but like I tried what Neel said and it kind of worked. So maybe I'll try it again. And then, I wasn't passionate about social media. I just got good at it. And then I became passionate about it. So I think that's with everything. Like someone's like, oh, find your passion. Bro, I don't know how many people are passionate about mortgages starting off, but many of us got good at it and then we became passionate about it. So I don't like to tell like the young people like, yo, find your passion. What if your passion, you don't have one or you don't find one, or you're not feeling it. So I think
But Gino
right
says
now,
barbecue, and everybody knows that. It's not
yeah,
mortgages. He just does mortgages very well. But
yeah,
and mine's motocross, you
Yeah.
know.
there it is. But like you both you ended up in an industry where you're highly successful and you're also passionate about mortgage. You're also passionate about financial education. You're also passionate about helping loan officers succeed. So these are all things that became your things, over time. So if you're on this call and you're not passionate currently about video or social media, don't worry. That's how most of us are. But you'll become, if you get good at it, you get a little better at it, you'll become passionate about it. And it'll become part of your process every day.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too much into the science of it, but the reality is we're seeking dopamine, right? That's the reality of the matter is we're seeking dopamine when we're on social media. And the only way we're going to get it is if we make a post that people like and engage with. And then we're going to feel that rush and reward that we're looking for. And then you're going to want to do it again and do it again and do it again. So, I want to tie this a little bit. We were just on a call on our national call with PRMG with Tim Brahim. And this is kind of in alignment with that because he was saying not to half-ass anything. He said, if your energy is not where it needs to be, then whatever it is you do won't come out right. And it won't have the effect or the impact that you'd like. So this is just perfectly in alignment with what Tim was talking about. And he's like, look, it's science. He goes, it's not yoga mumbo jumbo. It's like, it's science. If your energy's in the right place and your heart's in the right place and you're doing the right thing and you're being authentic, you will get results.
That is a fact. And so let's get our mind right first. And let's, take the beginner's mindset. I think Ryan Grant talked about this. Like, how do you get energized about this business, especially when we've been through a rough season? I'll be honest with everybody here. Many days I'm not feeling it either. It's been a rough couple, 18 months, 2 years now. Somebody said date the rate, marry the house. Well, we've been on a freaking long date here, bro. I'm not
Right.
this date. I'm not really feeling my relationship here with the rates, but I'll tell you what, like, it's a decision to get focused on like, what are the opportunities? How am I going to do the work? And what Ryan really taught me we had a call after Momentum Builder because I really loved his talk. And then we chatted afterwards and he was telling me, he's like, look, Neel, in the fourth quarter of 2023, I think it was, I can't get the exact number. We'd have to get it from the data company, but it was, I believe he said 68% of loan officers didn't close a single deal. So here's the thing. Some of those people did not renew their license. Some of them did, but they're not doing any business and they're not doing any outreach. They're definitely not posting videos on social media. I'll tell you that much. So here's the thing. As the market slightly improves, even though the pie is smaller, we've lost 60% of your competitors. So the people who do this work right now and plant the seeds now are going to benefit the most as things slowly start to improve. I'm not saying there's a windfall coming by any means, but I'm saying even Fannie Freddie, all these things based on slight improvement in rates and market trends improving, and people starting to sell their homes now because they're just ready to do it. There was an unlock period. Now they're going to move out of that. Like, the number of transactions is going to increase, and we're all going to benefit from that if we're in the game. Those people who are sitting on the sidelines waiting for things to get better, they're not even going to be in the game. So I don't think they benefit from that change. Those of us here on this call are going to benefit. That's why, I love doing these, just to see where people are at. Because I had calls with our group guys where you had 300-400 people on the calls. Today, I have half that many people on the calls. And I'm like, okay, that's good. These are the half that are going to win, bro. Like, honestly, these are the guys who are committed and put in the work.
We love that. Remember we talked about that, Neel, before the event?
Yeah.
That we won't have hundreds and hundreds. Well, we did. We had 350 people at the event, but we said bad news is we're not trying to get 500 or 600 or 700 for February for our more momentum. Instead, we actually went after those that are leaning in, those who are committed to improvement, committed to invest in themselves, committed to being at the event, showing up at the event, being
and
part
you could
of the
tell, bro,
event.
in the conversations, Don, you guys did that by intention, but then in the hallways at the networking, people are having high level conversations. They're trying to, it's a little hard to have a conversation at the bar on that one night, but other than that, we were all jamming. We're like, man, sharing what strategy are we using? Like, what's your follow up like on these? Like, hey, what are you guys doing on this? And Jeremy Forcier is telling me this, and somebody else is, and everyone's just giving their best information to help each other. And that's the cool part about being in the room with the right people. It's like it re-energizes you, gets you out of a rut, but B, it also, you're going to pick up something from a conversation in a hallway or over drinks that could change your business. I mean, that's the value of having a high quality network. And so I'm just blessed to have people like you guys, all these top leaders in my high quality network. So that keeps me out of my rut, and you got to watch that, because right now it's really easy to fall into the negative Nancy talk and the inventory
There's a
sucks.
lot of that,
The
right?
rates. There's a lot of that. You start talking that way, man, it will affect your business. What the words you say matter. It does count, and your brain starts to believe, oh, this shit sucks and everything sucks. And now like Gino said, now my conversations aren't good. My energy's off. My videos suck. It just bleeds into everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that reminds me of Darren Hardy. I think it was Darren Hardy that was teaching us once, and he said, don't say stupid shit out loud. And, because especially out
loud. No,
that's
not Darren Hardy. That's Trevor Moab.
Oh, Trevor Moab. You got it.
Yeah.
So
he coaches, with Nick Saban, and he was best friends with who's the quarterback? Seattle quarterback. Now Denver. Now he's, I think, Pittsburgh.
Russell
Wilson. Yeah. Wilson was his best friend. Unfortunately, he passed away with cancer recently. But that was his thing, is don't say stupid shit out loud.
Well, and it's for the same reason that goal setting works better when you do say it out loud. And it's for the same reason that goal setting works better when you manifest things, meditate, write things down, write goals down, do a vision board. It's the same reason. If you believe in all that stuff and you see it and you say it and you hear it yourself, you start to exude that energy that we're talking about. And look, I mean, I think social media can be confusing, Neel. I think like, there's what I want my identity to be on social media, and then there's what it is, right? Which is what people perceive. And like I said, I mean, or like Don mentioned, people just know me for barbecue, right? They don't, and I'm like this like crazy great loan guy, but they know me for barbecue because that's what
they don't care how great you are at loans, Gino. Just so you know.
They don't. They just want to see a nice medium rare piece of meat out there. But it's but the reality is, look, I should probably just lean into that and be like, if that's what you see me as, and that's what you like about me, well, hell, I'll give you more.
Yeah, that's the truth.
No, actually, that's a good point. So, Neel, we've watched you, and it's cool that you're a student, as we all are. The only way you get better is to continually improve, and like you, and that's why we love having you on the show and a part of our event and part of our lives and part of our community, is that you're a giver. You have a passion to help other people. That helps. Like you said right at the beginning, that you have to have interest in others. You can't just be about yourself. And I noticed, and we're noticing too, just like we did with Momentum Builders, that it's more important, actually. Like, we all want to hit everybody we possibly can, like the big net. That's huge net, throw out there and see what you can catch, but you find out you don't catch nothing but minnows. The cool thing is, as we've got more focused on who our client is or our friends are, or who we can actually impact, we've got much better. Like now we impacted a certain clientele at Momentum Builder. It was the high end, not the ones that want to go for 99 bucks and go party. Not our style. Just like at PRMG, and we're regional managers for that, as you know, we don't go after the newbies. We need 20-year plus veterans. We're way better at helping them go from 4 to 8 to 12 to 20 than 1 to 2. So you've narrowed down your focus too, because you were trying to cast a pretty big net and do a cheaper version to give everybody a taste and try to help as many as you could. Now you're finding out, it's better to go narrow. Like at our event, you had 25. That's it. 25 people that really want to invest in stuff and really learn the craft, not just dabble in it, learn the craft. I know I'll impact you better that way. Am I right?
100%. And that's what, I wanted to do the call today. And so for you guys on the call, Greg, already let me know in the chat. If you turn to your chat, if you see the chat, everyone, instead of host and panelists, make sure your chat says everyone.
Right.
Just let us know you're live, where you're from, because we can't see your faces on this thing, but let us know in the chat. And, what Don said is at one of our things, we have a workshop that we do for thousands of dollars. People pay a lot of money to learn this stuff and go through our programs, and they get great results. And so what we want to do today was give you one of those strategies, for free. Like we want to give free value. We want to help people on this call. So, if you pay attention here, somebody on this 40 people call is going to get a strategy that's going to get them business. And then once you perfect it, it's going to make you an extra 100K in a year, because you'll do it over and over. So those, like, okay, I love this now. So we got everyone in the chat. Noah's here, Christy, Gina, Daryl's freaking in one of our programs, I think. All these guys, Raymond. Yeah. So this is cool. So you guys, some of you are aware of some of the stuff we do. Some of you might be learning or hearing this for the first time, right? And so I want to give you a strategy. And then at the end, I actually have something special for everybody here on the call too. So we'll get into that. So stick around. But how much time do we have, Don? We got like till noon, right?
Till at least noon. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So what I want to do is, like, what we just said is Don said, hey, let's not try and just make a viral video and speak to everybody. Let's narrow our focus, right? Who are we trying to reach? Who is the person we're speaking to? So today, if you think about it, that person is a millennial. Well, let me just start with this. How many of you have had this experience? And you could let me know in the chat, okay? How many of you have had the experience where you were referred a client, or you talked to somebody who was an acquaintance, maybe you ran into them somewhere, or you talked to them, and they weren't like a gung-ho buyer. They were just exploring their options or thinking about this. You presented them with some numbers and some plans, and you went over it in a nice way. And then they started looking. All of a sudden, they found a property and they were like, I want to go now. I want to make an offer. Things are moving fast. Hey, I don't normally do things like this, but I got to go now. You know what I mean? That type of vibe where they went from 0 to 100 pretty freaking quick. Has anybody had this experience? I know I have. Let me know in the chat. Gino,
I bet you everybody on this call has at some point. That's the way it works right now. And we just had to explain too that it has a lot to do with inventory too, going in and out of the market.
Correct. Or maybe they had a bad experience before. They didn't think it was possible. And now you showed them a way that shows them it's possible. I had this experience recently. I'll just tell you guys really quick. Saturday, one of our friends, my wife's friends, wants to reach out. She wants to explore options. She's been thinking about this for months, just casually saying, hey, I want to possibly upgrade. We're going bonkers in the house that we're in right now. I got 2 kids in here. Plus I got married. There's not enough space in these walls. I want to get a bigger house, but like, I have a 3% rate. What the heck am I going to do? Jimmy says all the time. Yeah. Raymond says all the time. So you guys know what I'm talking about. So all of a sudden we talked to the client. She's been putting this off for a while, but we finally talked to her. And then what happens is we come up with a solution to take a HELOC out on the current house, and she's going to be qualified to buy a new place. I told her, don't look at houses just yet. Like, we're just getting this started. Like, we'll start the process later. She's like, okay, cool. Sunday, we get a call in a panic. We found the house we love. It's perfect. Like, we're ready to go. Hey, I was like, hold on a second. You told me you weren't ready to do anything yesterday. What's going on? They threw the book out the window and said, let's go. So just think about this. So all of a sudden we had to make an offer. We had to explain to the agent, hey, we haven't even got the HELOC. And then for some of you guys, I don't know who you use for HELOCs, but sometimes like when we're in a pinch, we'll use Figure for HELOC because you can apparently get a HELOC in 5 days with Figure.
Tim Rowan on the call. You just gave him a shout out.
There you go, Tim Rowan, bro. So Figure HELOCs, bro, you can get in a fast fashion, you can get some money out of your house. They're using that as the down payment on the next place, plus paying off some debt. We made it structured in a way where the overall payment is palatable, even though the house payment on their new house is a little bit more than they thought it was going to be because of rates. Cool. We figured all this shit out on Saturday. They made an offer on Sunday, and they're moving forward. So that was just an example. Do you all know on this call how many people are in a similar boat that are just a few questions away from transacting with us? It's just a different market. They're not jumping up out of their seat to do stuff. They need advice. They need guidance. And so that group, I believe, based on all the data I've seen, because I have a lot of scale now and I speak to a lot of people in digital marketing, and I know all the demographics on social, that group is the largest it's ever been for as far as a target. So when we think about who are we speaking to, we're speaking to a millennial. Millennials, big age bracket. There's young millennials. I'm an old millennial. I barely make the cut, guys. I was born 1981, so I'm the oldest millennial on this call probably, but I'm still in there just by the skin of my teeth. So like, I just skinned in there, bro. My brother, he's a year older, 2 years older. I'm like, bro, you're out, man. You're not a millennial like me. You can't wear that hat, right? So
that's why we can't wear
I'm not.
Yeah, that's right, bro. So here's the deal. It's like, look, millennials is their target, and they are a little bit concerned, okay? They're a little bit hesitant. Okay, so now we know who are we speaking to. We're not trying to speak to just viral people on the internet. We're just saying like we're trying to speak to millennials who are hesitant about buying a home. That fact alone now gives you like, you can at least think about this as you're making the video. Hey, who am I talking to? I'm talking to a millennial who might be hesitant about buying or selling in this market or, doing whatever. And in our case, for mortgage here, most of us mortgage, if there are any realtors here, you could think about sellers too, but mostly it's going to be buyers or people, who possibly want to pull cash out, whatever that is. It's a millennial who's hesitant. What would we say to this person to get them to move forward? Probably not the message of like, man, here's the interest rates and Jerome Powell screwed us again. And then, I see some LOs posting with the bottle of Jack Daniels and they show the MBS chart going down and they're like, man, another bad day in the bond market. And I'm like, bro, I get it. Like, we follow this stuff with MBS Highway. I get it. But who is that helping? At the end of the day, is that inviting anybody into this market? You have to think about like you have to think about your messaging. Like it is important to know those things and to see the trends and advise people on when it's a good time to lock and all that stuff. But at the same time, it can bleed over into just whining and complaining about how rates are high. And that isn't turning anybody on. I mean, it's a good thing for us to have over a beer. We can talk crap about the Fed screwed us, but whatever, but when you're talking to consumers, just make sure you're speaking to a hesitant millennial buyer. Would my message help or hinder that person? Would they be better served by me afterwards? So that's being intentional again. Let's be intentional about the video because you guys want results. We don't want to just waste our time. I know so many people who have spent time on social media and then they said they didn't get anything because they were just spinning their wheels. So I'm like, yeah, I get it. Why you don't like it. But if we were intentional, we're going to get something from it. So that's who we're speaking to. Now, what do we do with this? So I want to give you guys a framework of a video that you can actually do, and then you can ask for business at the end of it. Most of the time people sell something on social media or they're selling their services. They're saying like, just call me for all your mortgage needs or let's book an appointment. Like those people aren't quite ready for that yet. So we want to just give them an easy step, make it a simple step. Like we said earlier, simple scales, fancy fails. So if the first step to working with you is I got to like call it, figure out your number, book an appointment, come down or, book a Zoom. I understand that that's what we would all prefer, but there's a lot of people out there who are just a couple steps away from that. So those are the people I want to address on social media. So the way you do this is I want you to share a success story of something that happened. And I want you to share it in a conversational way. So it'd be like, man, this story just really, I've been in the business for 20 years and this one really got me. Or like, you know what, like these clients, this is just a feel-good Friday story for y'all today. We just closed on this deal. Crazy thing is, John and Susan, as of a couple months ago, didn't even think this was possible. They were going bonkers in their current home. They didn't think it was possible to upgrade to a bigger, nicer home because of rates and inventory and all these things. But we sat down on a call, put together a plan, and they just closed on their new home. The kids are happy. Like, I'm so pumped for them. Plus, they expanded the portfolio because they got to keep their current home as a rental now. So now they're actually real estate investors. So like we accomplished two of their major life goals in the last month by just having a plan. So you're telling the story in a conversational way. Okay, cool. And the main focus here, guys and gals, is to keep this short and sweet. I know we can go long, but again, we don't have a lot of time on social. It's not like a YouTube video where you have a lot of time. So tell that story in the most concise way. Now, at the end of the story, you want to transition into now you offering to help people. So you'd tell that story. And then you'd say at the end, you say, so here's the thing. There's probably a lot of you out there who are thinking like, hey, I kind of want to upgrade. I want to buy my first house, or I want to upgrade to a bigger, nicer house. And so if that's you and you want information on this, I actually have a guide that can help you. I actually have some basic information that will really help you and will save you a ton of time and money. If you want to get this guide, just comment the word home below and I'll send it over to you. And so what you've done there is you said, if you were fitting in this category, I have something that can help you. The thing I have to help you is simple and it's valuable. If you want it, here's exactly what to do next to get it. And so I found that when you tell people exactly what to do next and it's simple, you get more people to do it versus like, hey, reach out to me if you're ever interested in buying a house. Dude, there's so many people who are scared to even have that conversation. And I'm like, man, why are you scared? Just call me. We're nice people. We're not going to harm you. Like we're like, our team's cool, but they don't know all this and they're hesitant. So what you want to do is just get them to raise their hand. Like, yeah, I think I might be interested in that. And just as I told you in that first story today, don't ever discount the fact that some of these people who are just like raising their hand kind of shaky, they can turn into gung-ho buyers like that with the flip of a switch once you empower them. Our goal is to empower these people with information. But in order to do that, you got to be a little flexible in the way you start the conversation. So again, how we start this conversation, clear, concise story told in a conversational tone, transition into some of you guys might be thinking about buying your first home or maybe even upgrading, just like this couple. If that's you, I have something that will help you with this process. I put together a guide. And when I say guide, literally you could just put down a few things on a PDF. And for the people on this call, I'll hook you up with something at the end of the call today to help everybody. But I have something that you could use for this guide. It will save you a ton of time and make you money all year long. You could use it over and over. But here's the thing. You got to send this out. You got to just not focus on the actual thing. It's more about just the conversation. So somebody comments home, you can just simply DM them a link to get this thing or capture their email and shoot it over to them. Now you've got some leads from the message. So not only did you create a good piece of content that educated people, but you also asked for business. The way in which you asked for business actually felt like you were just helping people. It didn't even feel like an ask to me. It just feels like, hey, I got something. If you want it, here it is. And you generate some leads. Now, if you do this weekly, there's no question in my mind, you'll have business from social media by the end of the year. You'll have a lot of business from social media if you did this correctly every week, 52 weeks a year. So, I know we all got to make our calls. We got to do their follow-ups. We got to do our time blocks and all this. What if you just time blocked a few minutes to do that video with your phone once a week and you did it, you got good at it? I mean, think about the effect of that. Now you've got a skill where you can get business on social media. Now, there's 10 other things I could get into. And I could talk about different types of videos to reach more people and to grow your followers and do all that stuff. But first things first, let's just start with the people we have already. Don said it earlier. He said, we try to serve our people. So like you probably have, a couple hundred followers right now. And some of these people, when you post a video, they'll see it. The algorithm is going to show it to some strangers too for you for free. If one really takes off, I don't know if you guys have ever been friends with or known of Ming, What's a Mortgage? He educated me on ads, how you run ads to your best performing videos. So me and him are working on a strategy to help LOs run ads to their best performing videos. But you're not ready to run ads if you can't make good videos because the ad is the video. And if the video sucks and it doesn't do anything, the ad won't do anything. So then you're just pissing money away. So first things first, let's get good at this with the small audience. And then now you want to put gas on a fire? Go ahead. Let's spend $1,000 on ads and let's blow this thing up and let's generate, 50 leads this month. Cool. Like that's a real outcome. You can do that, but you have to get good at this first part. And so this is what I really want to do. If this is helping you, let me know in the chat. Anybody, I know Jimmy's here. Jimmy was ready. Jimmy thought the cutoff for millennials, by the way, was 1984. It's 1981, bro. I don't know if Jimmy didn't even know. Jimmy might be a millennial. He don't even know it.
So I love that we're identifying our target audience, because I think it was Josh Pitts that was telling us when he started his account over, and so did Arjun. And I don't know if you did as well, but there was that era where you were starting it over.
Neil did, I
Yeah.
thought.
And it
Yeah.
was because
You mentioned that, Neil, didn't you? Just
Yeah,
have
I
to
started in
restart because you
2020.
don't want a bogus, followers.
Yeah,
Well,
I start from scratch.
yeah, because you didn't have the right people in your audience, right? And so I always think of the Gary Vee saying, jab, 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 right hook. And so I guess for me, it's barbecue, barbecue, barbecue mortgage.
Yes.
So think of it that way. Whatever it is that people do know you for, like you for, do that, and then sneak something in there to help them every day. But if all you do, this is the one mistake I see, I get bored as a consumer of information. If every post is about business, I don't care.
Yes.
I lose interest. And when you were talking about speaking to people that are in their chair, raising their hand hesitantly, you're speaking to a curious person, to someone
Yes.
that doesn't have all the information yet. That's why they're not empowered. So think about, how do I impact a curious person? And have a dog barking in the back, but that's okay. How do I
Yeah. And so this
curious
is it. You're thinking about a curious, hesitant millennial. How can we help them today? Well, this first strategy I told you, it's one of many, but this is the first one I teach is like nothing inspires people like results. So when you show another millennial couple that just closed, they can now see themselves in that. So we all have these stories every week. Somebody closes. Hopefully, if you're in this business, you're closing some loans. So like every week, every month, you got some closed deals. Let's talk about those closed deals. Let's celebrate them. Don't ever take for granted that this is a major thing we just did for this family. We helped them with this transaction. They're going to be better off for it. Some of them have been thinking about this for months, if not years. And you played a part, you and the realtor, and maybe some other people played a part in getting this done. That's a big deal for people. And so if you talk about that and give it that level of importance, other people are going to feel that on the other end, and then they might be inspired by it. And you know what the other thing is? You might make this video the first time and no one comments anything. You don't get nothing. Like, does every call we make result in a closed deal? Does every freaking lunch meeting result in us landing the developer and we get the whole business? Like, we plant seeds and then we get better at them and then it works, right? So don't be discouraged if the first time you do this, you didn't get a deal or a lead. Like, just keep going. Again, how much time did it take you? Maybe it's going to take you 10 takes to make that video the first time because it's hard for you to, talk on
Best
camera.
thing is you gave everybody a break. You gave everybody an out, Neil, because we have a team and we try to get them to do more and more social media, and they're getting better. The more they dive in, the more they're doing it, the better they get, the more then they do it. But the cool thing is you gave everybody here that maybe isn't doing on a regular basis, and we're going to share it with our team, is they think they have to have a certain way about them in the professional way and the way they're promoting the product or their craft or what they do. Instead, what a great thing is just tell a story. Everybody can do that. You're just telling a live story about how you help somebody, and it's a true story. That comes out with passion, and it's real, and it's easy. And everybody can relate to it way better than what's he selling? What are they selling? Even Tim Brahim just brought it up that he was at an event for high-end people, and the guy did nothing but try to close them the whole time, and they all smelt it.
Yep.
I was going to say, I love this concept because if you just lean into it a little further, it's so simple. It really is so simple, because I could tell you right now, that's it. This week we had a buyer come to us who fell in love with a home, but refused to sell their old home because it was the family home their children had grew up in. They thought it was absolutely impossible to retain that home, and that's why they weren't willing to let go. When we found a strategy to help them get their new home, they were ecstatic. They were able to achieve what they wanted, and they moved forward right away. So if you want to keep your home, we have a story for it. The next person,
Bro,
right?
Gino just did this. Gino just did it off the cuff. That's the clip, bro. Let's clip that. Like that was it. He told the whole story right there. They
But it's
didn't
so
think
simple,
they were
because
they
check it
weren't
out.
gonna buy. They were gonna be unhappy in their current home. They weren't gonna move on with their dreams because they felt that they didn't want to give up the current family home. Well, it turns out you could buy a home without giving up this one, and we figured out a solution, and now they did it. And
Right.
so
And then
there's so
next
many more
week's
people
story-
out there who have that exact same situation.
And next week's story could be, I met this family that only had $10,000 for a down payment, and they didn't think it was enough. It was amazing. After we sat down for a little while, we found out that one of them was a veteran. And after we found out that one of them was a veteran, we were able to get them into the home with no money down, and they kept their $10,000 in their pocket. And in fact, we paid off a credit card that was $200 a month to make their mortgage payment easier. So if this sounds like you, please comment below.
That's it, bro. And it's like, hey, if this sounds like you, comment below. You could say that, or you can say like, I put together a quick breakdown on the 3 types of loans that you can get, or the 4 types of loans, just so
That's
you
good.
have this when you're ready to
minimum
go.
down.
Yeah. And all it is, you guys don't overthink the guide. The guide is you type it up on Microsoft Word or Google Sheets and save it as a PDF. Like, it doesn't need to be pretty. If you want to throw it in
We
Canva
have
and make it
Sonia on
pretty,
this call that can make it pretty.
yeah, if Sonia can make it pretty for you, great, even better. But don't not do it because you don't have the pretty flyer yet. You know, somebody's saying they don't have the flyer yet, so they can't do this. Well, you can start with what you got, and then you can level it up from there. And then just so you know, a little bit more advanced is like on the flyer, you can have a call to action for them to book a call with you and take the next steps. But you started off with something gentle, easy. So this is super easy. Like Gino just did it. I said the strategy, and then Gino just riffed 2 stories off the top of his head that would work. He said them perfect because he said it in a conversational, relatable way. I didn't feel like he was selling me anything. That's the way it's got to be to relate to these hesitant, curious, is what you said, Gino, millennials. It's a great strategy. And so then we just start perfecting this. You start getting better at it, and you start to see, oh, that story really resonated with people, or that one did. And you'll find that you'll get even more people than just what the stories are. So Gino could do the one about first-time buyers. You might get a jumbo loan from that. Why is that? Well, because you'll attract more than just the niche you're speaking to. But because you speak to somebody, you now speak to a lot more people. If you try and catch everybody, like John was saying in the beginning, you speak to no one. You know, it's hard to make wide appealing content. Like, there's these trends going on where people do these funny videos. Some of them go viral and it's kind of fun. But what we found afterwards is they didn't really get any business from it. They didn't get anything. You know, it was just kind of a bunch of views and it kind of went away. Like, Don, you could make a motocross video, or like, you know, you could do something where you could clip some old clips, put them together, do some crazy shit. We could probably put the right music on it and make it go viral. I don't know what business we're going to get from this though, you know, like at the end of the day. So,
but people pay more attention. That's the key.
Yeah.
And actually, because I knew I was on the call with you today, it motivated me. I'm like, okay, I got to walk the walk. If we're going to start doing this, Gino's doing a really good job, better than me, of like starting to utilize it more and share his personality and what he is and just stories. And I have, you know, and it's funny, some of my posts about mortgage, about our mortgage success. But when I posted, I had a big race a couple of years ago. It was a big deal. I got so many followers. Oh, that's so cool. So today Gino, he probably even saw it, that I'm like, all right, I'm going to document. I'm doing a 6-month training regime for 2 giant, like, professional races that I'm going to commit to. I'm going to document it the whole way of my journey through it and see how many people follow it and whatever. And it'll be me training, it'll be me riding, whatever. I'll get way more followers, I'm sure, than, hey, guess
and what's
what?
cool,
Interest rates went down today.
But I commented on it to make sure that you got viral traction. And I also made sure that you understand that we can't fucking look at videos like this, okay?
It was the only way I could show Afterburn
Instagram
Fitness. I know.
You got to be vertical.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this is Don's just doing it. And so he's getting into it. And it's like,
but he did
what
it.
Gino said earlier is really important. He said, it can't just be all about the numbers and the mortgages and stuff. You got to mix it up. So if you're trying to build a personal brand, you want to connect with people. So I start sharing more about my family, the things I'm into, my interests. Don is, he's into moto and he's into getting in ready for this thing coming up. That journey, Don, is going to inspire a lot of people. And what's going to happen is some of those people end up working with you. You know, that's the truth, because you started the conversation with this. Sometimes the conversation starter is not the mortgage thing. It's just, where were you at on vacation with the family? What were you doing? What were your interests? You know, I went to the Super Bowl this year and I posted a bunch while I was at the Super Bowl. Well, that dang ticket, that was a ridiculous cost, made me so much money. You know what I mean? Like afterwards, it got me so much connections and money, like, because it just started so many conversations. Just the conversation of what did it cost to go was the conversation, like.
So now we can figure out how to pay for our interests, whether it's traveling or motocross or barbecue,
you can monetize.
Or whatever. This is how you pay for it.
Yeah, bro. If you're going to Disneyland, you know how expensive it is. Don't waste the opportunity. Monetize your trip to Disneyland by sharing what you're doing there. It's going to inspire other people. and then you're going to get something from this. Okay. People are going to start conversations with you. There's so much more to it. You can get deeper on this stuff, but you have to start somewhere. You got to start with what you got. So what do you got this week? Well, I'm doing this. I close this deal. Talk about it. All right. I'm doing this with my kids. I'm taking my kid this weekend. My daughter's in a volleyball tournament. I'll talk about that. Cool. You know how many other potential referral partners and clients have their daughters in volleyball?
Jeez.
All of a
Who
sudden
doesn't?
I've got people talking to me about this, right? So it just focus on this. I know I said Super Bowl because that's this big thing, but it doesn't have to be Super Bowl. It can be literally the local volleyball tournament. Okay, so I want you to write this down, everybody. Focus on relatable, not remarkable. The stories and the personal things you tell just have to be real. It doesn't need to be some crazy thing like, oh, I went to Dubai. That's cool if you did, but if you also went to the beach this weekend in your local market, that's cool too. Like, it needs to just be relatable, not remarkable. And then the other thing I'll tell you, and Don just exercise this as well, is everybody here on this call, you can and will be paid for imperfect videos, but you'll never get anything from incomplete. Okay. So you can make
Ooh.
money from imperfection, but you get nothing from incomplete. So just make the dang thing, post it, even if it sucks the first few times. Somebody's going to see it. You'll get better at it. We can give you feedback. I can't give you feedback if you haven't done the dang thing. So if you don't post it, I don't know how we're going to see it. People like, hey, dude, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm like, just do it, and then I'll give you the feedback. It's always easier to get feedback on your attempt. People respect that because it's not just pie in the sky. It's actually, oh, dude, I tried it. How could I get better? That's a great thing, dude. I tried it. How could I get better? And that's how people get, really grow. You talk about Jeremy Forcier, one of the top loan officers in the country. Dude's richer than me. I mean, he's a very successful guy and just such a good-hearted individual. He's always willing to give. He comes to me a year ago, after being in the game for so long, and goes, Neel, I need to get better at video. How can you help me? And so I'm starting from beginner mindset. And we helped him with his videos. Now he's crushing video on top of crushing everything else. So like, that's a guy who's 20 years in the business, way more successful than me in mortgage, but he came to me for help on video, right? So like, just because you're successful and you've had a great career, like, doesn't mean you can't go back and have the beginner's mindset on some other things. And those people who are willing to do things like this are those who are always winning. It's just like you said, Don, those are the guys who are winning every time. People who are always learning.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about, Neel, you said relatable.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's okay to share your struggles too. Like, so you just gave me an idea of what I'm going to do for my post today, because I'm struggling with the goddamn stupid FAFSA form for kids' college. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The site is broken. It doesn't matter what you do. I consider myself a smart person, and there's no way to fix it. And you try to email the student aid office, you try to email the school. Doesn't matter who you reach, you can't get the job done. So I can't be the only person that's dealing with that. There's probably another, of all the people that are in my sphere, at least the people that are already my friends and followers, there's like whatever, 1,800 or 1,400, whatever that is. Of them, there's probably 20 other people fighting with the same problem right now, trying to get their kids to college and get through the forms.
Yeah.
So those people might reach out and be like, dude, I'm dealing with the same thing. It's driving me crazy. How did you fix it? Right? It had nothing to do with mortgage. It had nothing to do with anything else, but it is relatable. Number 2 pencil.
It is.
Yeah.
And so what's happening here
That's
is
what they
somebody's
tell you
going
in
to relate
school.
to
Use
it.
the number
Somebody
2
might,
pencil.
yeah, somebody might even have a solution for Gino in the audience. You never know. And so the other day I was
There you
struggling
go.
with something, and I asked a question. A bunch of people give me the feedback. If you ever want a quick way to get a bunch of conversations on social, ask people for help on a health or wellness issue. I've noticed this. Everybody's a freaking expert in health and wellness. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened there, but they're all going to tell you, man, here's what I do, or here's what this dude told me. And sometimes you get the
No,
complete
no. Do
opposite.
not get
Like,
Gino on this trip.
should I cold plunge before I work out or afterwards? I'm hearing different things. And then, oh no, never do it before. And then this guy, oh, I swear by it. I always do it before because it gets me this. You'll get both sides. You can get the conversations going. So just talk about things, that you're struggling with and that you're dealing with. People will relate to it. And I'm sharing now that, hey, the reason why I bring up health and wellness is I posted on Instagram. I said, hey, I haven't been serious about in the gym for years. I've been going, but like not being intentional. So I don't even think I'm getting any results,
Me too.
honestly. I would just go, yeah, I was just going running through the motions because I could check the box that I worked out today. But did I really? I'm not really getting in good shape, and it's important to me now because of I'm getting older. So I said, okay, you know what, guys, I'm hiring a trainer, not for forever, but just for the next 6 months. And he's going to kick my ass in the gym. We're going to do 3 days a week. Here's what we're doing. We're doing legs one day, chest the next day, and then arms and back the next day. And I'm going to follow this for 6 months straight. And I'm going to be very disciplined. And he's going to push me. And I need that because I need the appointment in the morning, 6 a.m., and I'm going to get results. Cool. So I said that. Bunch of people engaged with me on this. Even people offered in my local market to be my accountability partner for when the training ends. It was cool. And a realtor DM'd me and he said, I go to the same gym. I'll be your buddy. We can go in the mornings. So you don't even have to pay for a trainer. I said, that's cool. I didn't know that dude was in there. So it just started so many conversations. And again, like Gino said, it wasn't about mortgages in the beginning. It started with going to the gym. Now we can talk about loans later, and we will. But that's just the way this flows. So start with that, and then you'll see the door open for all these other conversations. Incidentally, the more personal things you share, when you do share this success story framework that I gave you about 20 minutes ago, it will work way better because people are willing to listen to you now. They're open to you, they trust you, they feel like you're a good person. So now they're willing to listen to your stories on social media. If you just pop on once every 2 months to ask for something, it's not going to get you anything. Like people just they don't have that connection with you, so they're not really going. Many times they just scroll past your video.
Neil, I have to say, I'm so excited to have you on the call. I know, please give a thumbs up if you've gotten at least one pro wisdom. I have 2 pages of notes already to share with my team and for Gino and I to get on. There we go. But what's really cool, Neil, is I'm so proud of you because you have simplified this so much for so many. Like when you first went up, and don't take this wrong because you were
Yeah.
killing it, but and we talked about this, is not something we haven't talked about, but it was overwhelming. I'm like, there's no way someone's going to be a Neel Dhingra. I'm sorry, you're just on this pedestal, and it was almost a barrier of entry because you're like, how am I going to ever get that? But you've simplified it so much. Your demeanor, your calmness. We watch that in experts that get better, like you and Gino talk about Jeremy Forcier now. He used to be like, oh, this energy, and a lot of it was his part of his stick, but now it's calmness, it's intention, it's impact, it's direct, it's different, and you have become that. And like I'm writing these notes, I'm like, I can do that. It's simple, really simple, easy, fun stuff that we all could do to attract the people that we can work with. It's not trying to, we get so caught up, and I'm just as bad. We've gotten much better ourselves, as we mentioned, but trying to throw it out there and we'll catch somebody. Now just go after the people you're great at. Like Gino and I have much better with, we decided 12 years ago, we're only going to work with people we really like. We want to work with. They're not assholes. We're writing a book on that, just so you know. And it's changed our career. We like who we work with. All our team members, all of them are awesome. We like going to work. We don't look at one and go, Gino knows my rule was if I get a phone call from you and it shows up on my phone and I want to hang up, you're fired. I don't work with people like that anymore. And he knows who I'm talking about. This guy literally, and it's funny, we gave him to somebody else and that guy threw his phone against the wall. I'm like, see, told you, that guy will drive you insane. We don't work with assholes anymore. So work with who you want to work with and who you like working with, and it'll attract others. I mean, we have grown organically pretty much. We're not the best recruiters. We're great at helping you grow, by the way, anybody who's on the call. We're really good about retention. We've only had 3 people leave us in 10, 12 years, period. And 2 came back. You know, we don't have people leave us because we work really hard to give them value and love and direction and growth and a career. Like we don't like people leaving us. So that's our strength. And it's helped us, grow the right way, and we love it.
Yeah. And so
ahead,
I think we
go
got about 10 minutes left. So I
Got
think
a couple
like
of hand raises if you want to let somebody else up.
Sure.
Yeah,
let's do
we
it.
could do that. And then Don, I just want to really quickly say, man, like this, what you're saying right now, it just hits home for me. It's like, hey, the thing you said about being calm and teaching in a way that makes people feel like they can do it. This is the same approach we can use with consumers who are hesitant. They can now feel like they're empowered to do it. So it's a skill that comes to you over time. Those people who can simplify the complex, those are the winners right now, right? Those are going to be the winners. People love simple. People love hitting the easy button. People love ordering on DoorDash. Do you know, like, you could literally make somebody angry by saying, hey, you have to call the restaurant to put in your order. You can't just order it on the app. They're like, what the heck, man? What? I'm not talking to humans right now. So yes, we need to talk to people, and that's our value. We can get in their conversation. But in the beginning, just to start, we need to start with easy and relatable and make it approachable. And so that's, if you're overwhelming people in the beginning, they're not going to do anything. They just feel like lost. So just that, I really like that you brought that up, Don, because that's a good insight. And then also, before we run out of time too, let's do some questions. And then I got something to share with you guys afterwards for forward for this year. So we'll share that at the end.
Cool. Oh yeah, we got to talk about forward. Whoop, whoop.
Yep, we brought on Raymond. So Raymond, tell us what's up.
And does he have to unmute? You unmute, Raymond.
He can unmute.
There he is.
I'm good. I'm good. I hit it by accident. Trying to react.
You got all excited and hit the
I
button.
got excited. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
He's got a voice for radio, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, Neel, I mean, look, I think we've done a lot already just in the short amount of time we've been together. And I know you have more for us. So share those couple things that you want to share with us. But the one thing I want to really make sure that everybody does, and maybe a little challenge, because we do take attendance on these calls.
Yeah.
So, would it be
Let's do this.
Would it
Let's
be
say
fair to ask everyone to do a post by the end of the week?
let's do it. So we got today and tomorrow. If you could make that post, just do it and tag us, tag Gino, myself, Don. I'll give you feedback
Momentum
on it.
builder.
Yep, tag Momentum Builder, and we'll give you feedback on this. And then also these guys can see that, hey, you're one of the action takers, and we can then get better at this. And so if you're serious about, oh, Tina did it while we're listening. That's amazing.
Tina.
There you go, Tina. What's up? That's
Taking
dope.
action. I bet you
I
Jimmy
love
did
that.
too, knowing Jimmy.
Yeah, and so you're going to get better at this. And I don't know if these calls are recorded and posted somewhere, but if you need that framework, just go back and rewatch it. If you're joining the call late or you were fixing a 10:03 earlier or whatever, just come back, watch the video, and you'll be able to check, hey, this is the framework for doing this. Here's why it works. But I'm telling you, if you do it in the right way and you get good at this, it could be a big piece of your business this year. And then just remember this, guys, because I'm always thinking a few steps ahead. I like playing chess. Remember, if you get good at this, you can then teach this to your realtor partners. You can provide more value to your realtor partners. They're going to refer you more business. You could then, if anybody here wants to recruit, you could then use this to teach your LOs. That's an additional value that you can build your team. There's so many more benefits to being able to get this skill than just simply getting a deal on Instagram. That's level one. That's just the surface. Imagine if you get really good. Now you can be teaching this at events. You could be somebody get good at this. You could be teaching your strategy at next year's Momentum Builder. Who knows? That's seriously what happened to me.
You're teaching your agents.
Teach your agents, teach your referral partners, eventually teach it at events. Now all of a sudden you're getting business from everywhere. And so the sky's the limit. And so that's why I always like investing in a strategy that has no ceiling. A lot of the things we do, you put the money in, you get this return. Okay, cool. I get that. It's very easy to calculate. Buy these leads, get this conversion rate, get this return on my investment. Easy. This skill has literally no ceiling. Somebody could make 50 grand this year with it. Somebody else could make $1 million with this over the next 2 years. You never know. So just really focus on that and tag us when you make the video. We'd love to see the videos that you guys post.
Cool. Well,
Mark's going to do it, bro. Mark Cabaretta is going to do this for sure.
I want to see it, Mark. We know where you work.
We're going to run a little shy on time, so I want to make sure that everybody knows about your event.
Yeah. So let me see if I can just quickly share this video because I would never do this justice in terms of explaining it properly. So let me see if I can just share this video. We guys, we put on an event. And if I had to say, there are 2 events that are must attend. So there's 10 events a year in our industry, probably more that we don't even know about. 10.
Right.
There's 2 that I never miss every year. One is Momentum Builder, and one is Forward, right? This is basically, I learned a lot from these guys. We put in our event and we share a lot of ideas on how to make these things better. And so this is as far as marketing goes, specific to marketing, it is the event of the year for people in mortgage
100%.
and real estate. And so if you want to learn how to get better marketing, you want to meet a bunch of high, the top players in the industry and have a great time in Vegas, this is the event. And I was trying to show you what the energy is like really quick, just 1 minute video. And then I want to give you guys something for this year. So
And nobody does better. We're actually stealing ideas from Neel. He pumps up the group.
There you go. So check this video out really quick. Hopefully this plays. I think it will. There we go.
Ooh, sounds good.
The problem you run into when you put everything you have into making this event absolutely epic is that somehow next year you have to find a way to do it even bigger. I think the reason why, honestly, that I put so much time, energy, money into these events is because I've seen it firsthand. The impact it has not only just on your business, but on your life.
Soon enough, you gon' know, yeah, you gon' know, yeah, yeah. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, he's got the t-shirt gun like we do. That's right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that like I couldn't explain the energy. That you have to see a video to see that. We're video people, so we love showing that. But that's the energy of the room. And this year we have great speakers like Gary Vee, who's got his finger on the pulse in terms of marketing. He just is releasing a book that walks you through the new blueprint, not the old blueprint, the new blueprint for how to make money using content. He's going to be there talking about his new formulas. We got Phil Jones. This guy's an absolute genius in communication. We got sales leaders, authors. There's a billionaire speaking, Jamie Kern Lima. She has a book out right now called Worthy, which has been a bestseller for the past 3 months. And she is a billionaire. She's in the cosmetics industry. And you're like, well, what the heck does this have to do with mortgage? Well, the way our event is different because it's all about marketing is we have the best marketers and leaders from other industries, and then we apply it to our industry. And that's how I've grown my business. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this event. So we have this event. We launched it on April 4th, and it was blowing up, which is really, humbling to me because I know the industry is going through a rough season right now. And it's cool to see that the best people in the industry are coming to this year's event. So we have 1,000 people coming out, and we're almost getting too close to sold out. So we're gonna be on track to sell out in the next couple of weeks. So what I wanted to do for the Momentum Builder family is I sent over an email, and you guys will get an email on this, but if you wanted to jump ahead of the crew, we're doing 10 tickets for anybody on this call today at 40% off. So if anybody wants to grab one of those 10 tickets, I'll put the link in the chat and you can grab one. It's because Don and Gino, they like reached out. They're like, hey, what can we do for people in the Momentum Builder family to be at Forward this year? I support their event. They always support mine, which is really cool. And so that's what they did. We worked out a way to do 40% off. It's normally $1,000 ticket for a 2-day event. You get it for 40% off of that. So it's like $600. And would love to have you there, man. It would be awesome.
It's
I'll
going to
put
be
the
an
link here in
amazing
the
event.
chat.
You know how to put on an event, Neil. There's no doubt about it. And like you
Sony-
said, everybody we know in the event in our industry is like, you got to talk to Neil. And you gave us 2 hours, which was really nice, talking about how we can improve our event, make it better. And we're just taking cues off of how the energy, because it's a lot of energy being with like-minded people, hanging out, trying to perfect your craft, get better at your craft, and with people that have the right energy, and you create that, makes it that much more impactful. And
Yeah.
I love you for that, man. And
Thank you.
So thankful to have you a part of our community, and you're helping Gina and I get better at our jobs and how we
Yeah,
can
and then
leverage social media better.
And Sonia is sharing this. This is the lineup for this year. It's just amazing people, marketers, leaders. They'll inspire you. They'll teach you things, and it'll be a really cool experience. Plus, I never want to discount the fact about networking with a high level group of people. People
Right.
have a great time at our event, and you'll meet people in the hallways. You'll meet people at the meetups after the sessions, the lunches, the dinners, all that kind of stuff is really cool. And it's at this really dope resort. It's called Resorts World in Vegas, right across from the Wynn. So I put that link in the chat. If anybody wants it, it'll work for 10 people, and then it'll go back to regular price. So if you wanted to grab one, you can. And then what I wanted to do as well is, I know people on the call, I was telling you about this lead magnet thing, right? Like a guide that you can give out. I'll save mine as a PDF. And for anybody joining us, I'll give you guys the guide that I'm using. So you can start using this tonight if you want. Like I'll send it over to you right away. So I'll tell Samantha on our team, I'll tell her, hey, anybody who gets their ticket with this huge discount that we're doing for you guys, we'll send you over our lead magnets. So now you don't even have to worry about making the thing. I'll just give you mine. Okay. You can use mine. I don't care. You can put your own words on it. Make sure you put your name and NMLS number on it. Don't use my name, but you can change up those few things on it and run with it. And so I just want to help people take action. I know that part is the tough part. Jimmy, bro, Jimmy's always at the events. I got to get Jimmy out there because Jimmy's always creating content in the hallway. I just saw him in the chat. There's no better
Yeah, he
example
just
of
finished 25 videos from Momentum Builder for us of
Yeah.
interviews he did.
So not only is Jimmy there to learn from the speakers, so hopefully Jimmy, while Gary Vee is talking, cut the video, come in the room and learn from Gary Vee, but then you can go back out on the next break. But make videos. He's networking with people. He's at the bar at night. He's having a conversation about CRM and talking about this. And then he's in the room, so that's someone who's squeezing this, experience. And then like Don just said, he came up with 25 videos afterwards. So like, there's so many ways to get more out of the experience. And that's what I love going to events. The reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I went to an event in 2018 when I was burnt out on the industry. And I was even thinking about leaving the industry because 2018 was kind of a tough year.
We remember.
And I got re-energized.
Yeah.
And I got into it. And that's what started me on media and marketing. And it took off from there. So it's dope.
Very cool. Well, thank you,
All right.
Neil. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping because we got another guest coming on next week that you guys might know. It's going to be, what do we got here? I don't know. Oh, he's playing your song, I bet. It's Sonia's
Just trying to find the right screen.
Yeah. There we go.
That's it.
So look who we have next week. The man, the myth, the legend himself.
Oh,
My original mentor that changed my career. Remember, Neil, you were just saying how you almost got out of the business. I did too. Because I was doing it wrong. Honestly, I was trading hours for dollars and running out of hours. And somebody said, you need to go to a Todd Duncan event and get some coaching and do it right. And thank goodness I did. And it changed my career, changed Gino's because we forwarded to everybody we know. So he's going to be on. No way are you not going to gather value out of that. And then, of course, we have Scott Harris and Craig Pollock with one of the best systems in the industry to help you with exactly what we're talking about, with your presence, with your reviews, and how people find you, see you, and validate you. So we have some great stuff ahead. Every week we try to make sure to bring it. So do us a favor, though. We're going to start asking for some help to share this more momentum call every week so we can get more of our members involved. The more, the better. So because we don't have to do this alone. We can do this together. Join our community by downloading the app. We have like almost 1,200 people in our app now, Neil. Not too bad, huh?
that's awesome.
So we had 1,200 in that, and then we're building out our Facebook group. We just started it. That's how we can connect daily. And we're gonna get people like the great Neel Dhingra to share content ideas on our Facebook page, along with all the great professionals. We're
Marketing
really
on the
trying
spot.
to. What's that?
Look at that. Marketing on the spot. Sonia already created a slide.
There you go. Be relatable, not remarkable.
That was really good, Sonia. She's the bomb. We're very fortunate to have her.
Dude,
So,
by the
great
way,
stuff.
I just have to say this about your crew, guys. You guys have the best people, Sonia and Katie, like, and everybody else that puts on your events and works on your team. Like, these people are world class. Just customer service, and they always are just smiling and have great attitudes. You know what I mean? Like, it's really cool when you have good people like that.
Yeah, we're very blessed, and they are great people. So thank you for that, Neil. We'll make sure those who are on the call, make sure they know that, because it matters that you notice. So they work hard to be great stewards for us. We're very fortunate. They make us look good because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for being on the call. Thank you, Neil. You the bomb. And make
Thanks,
sure
guys.
you sign up for Forward, and we'll definitely see you next week. Download the app, Momentum Builder, and sign up for the Facebook page and share with your friends.